There's a moment in life, silent, terrifying, undeniable, when you realize that everything you were taught about power was incomplete. That strength isn't just in force, it's in awareness. That control isn't about domination, it's about clarity. That what once felt like your weakness might be the very thing that sets you apart. Maybe you've felt it before. That haunting doubt. The sense that you're too emotional, too soft, too reactive, too giving, too much. The way the world labels a woman's depth as a liability until it becomes the reason someone finally notices her, until it becomes her edge, her secret weapon. This isn't about becoming someone else. This is about learning how to see, really see, what's always been inside you. Not the mask, not the performance, but the quiet, raw truth you buried just to survive. The truth that you can be sensitive and still be strategic. That you can feel deeply and still command respect. That you can forgive and still win. And in a world that underestimates you, misunderstands you, or quietly envies you learning how to turn your perceived weaknesses into undeniable power isn't just a skill. It's a revolution. So if you've ever been dismissed, overlooked, manipulated, or misunderstood, stay with me. This is not just a lesson in confidence. This is a mirror held to your soul. Watch this video till the end. Like, share, and subscribe if you're ready to turn your hidden struggles into undeniable strength. They told you you're too emotional, that you feel too much, read too deeply, react too strongly. As if your emotions are some kind of flaw you need to iron out. As if being tuned in to what others can't even name makes you unstable. But you've always known, even when you tried to doubt it, that your feelings weren't random. They were signals, sharp, clear, unmistakable. You felt the tension in the room before a single word was said. You knew something was wrong before the facts arrived. You saw the crack in someone's smile, the flicker in their tone, the silence behind their yes. And you questioned yourself because no one else seemed to notice. But here's the truth. You weren't wrong. You were ahead. You see, emotional accuracy isn't about being dramatic or sensitive. It's about being precise. It's your ability to name the storm before it breaks, to sense who's safe and who's not, to walk into a situation and instantly understand what's unspoken, what's real, and what's about to fall apart. That's not weakness, that's power, because while others are still asking what just happened, you've already adjusted, you've already moved, you've already seen where this is going. It hurts sometimes, doesn't it, carrying this emotional radar, feeling what others ignore, being dismissed or made to feel too much, just for seeing what's actually there. But what they call overthinking is just your mind honoring your body's truth, and what they call mood swings is your system responding to something they're not sensitive enough to feel. It took you years to stop apologizing for that, to stop minimizing what you knew in your gut, to stop shrinking your truth just to keep the peace. But the moment you stopped pretending you didn't notice was the moment you took your power back. This isn't about feeling everything. It's about learning how to trust what you feel. It's about using it not to react, but to guide. To walk into a meeting, a conversation, a decision and know without being told what's off, what's honest, what's dangerous, what's real, and once you trust that, really trust it, you stop being manipulated. You stop being confused. You stop waiting for evidence while your instincts are already screaming the answer. You aren't too emotional. You're tuned in, and now you get to decide what to do with that truth. You've spent most of your life trying to hide how much things affect you, how deeply you feel, how long something small can sit inside you and echo. Because somewhere along the line, you were made to believe that being sensitive made you less capable, less rational, less respected, so you toughened up, you laughed things off, you told yourself not to care, not to cry, not to let it get to you, and on the outside it looked like you were adapting, but inside you were silencing the part of you that sees everything with depth, the part that could have been your greatest strength. Because here's what no one tells you: sensitivity is not weakness, it's precision. It's what allows you to anticipate someone's reaction before they show it. It's what helps you make decisions based not just on what's obvious, but on what's real. When youth other STECARS PRIGHT over responsibility, when used with boundaries, sensitivity becomes one of the most powerful strategies in life. You know who to trust without needing a list of reasons. You know when something's wrong even when no one's saying a word. You know when someone is hurting or lying or about to walk away. Most people wait for proof, you just feel it, and that can make people uncomfortable, because while they're distracted by the surface, you're already reading what's underneath. They call it overreacting, but you call it knowing. They think you're imagining things, but you know what's unfolding before it begins. The truth is, your sensitivity gives you leverage in conversations, in relationships, in leadership. You can feel people, not just hear them. And when you stop trying to numb that gift, you become someone no one can fool. You become someone who moves with quiet certainty. It takes strength to feel deeply in a world that encourages numbness. But your ability to sense, absorb, and interpret is a form of power that doesn't shout, it whispers. And the more you honor it, the clearer your path becomes. You're not broken, you're built differently. And your sensitivity, when you stop hiding it, becomes your most strategic advantage. You've always been the one who shows up. Even when you're exhausted, even when no one asks, even when it costs you something, you give your time, your energy, your forgiveness, your loyalty, as if there's no bottom to the well. And for a long time you believed that made you strong, that being the one who could carry it all was something to be proud of. But somewhere along the way, giving became bleeding, helping became sacrificing, and love started to feel like a slow, quiet loss. You found yourself drained not because people took too much, but because you gave too much without asking why. Overgiving doesn't make you generous. It makes you absent from yourself. You were never supposed to empty your soul just to keep others full. You were never meant to abandon your own needs to earn someone's presence. The truth is, overgiving isn't kindness. It's unclaimed power. It's your heart trying to earn what should be given freely. It's your fear of being unwanted unless you're useful. It's love that was never returned teaching you to prove your worth instead of simply being. And I know you meant well. You thought giving more would bring you closer, but you weren't building connection. You were building resentment. Because deep down, you wanted someone to pour back into you with the same urgency. You wanted to feel seen, not just needed. That longing, that ache to be chosen without having to earn it. That's your truth trying to come home. You don't need to stop being a giver. You need to remember that you're allowed to receive too. You need to remember that your energy is sacred, that you get to choose where it flows and where it doesn't. The power you've been placing in others' hands belongs back in yours. When you start giving to yourself first, not as a last resort, but as a daily decision, everything shifts. You stop chasing, you stop over-explaining, you stop proving, and the love you offer others becomes clean, not desperate. You're not too much, you've just been too empty. Fill yourself first, and then Give from the overflow, not from your survival. There were moments you sat in silence, not because you had nothing to say, but because you knew saying it wouldn't matter. Or worse, it would be twisted, ignored, or used against you. So you stayed quiet, not out of fear, but out of exhaustion. Not because you didn't notice, but because you noticed everything. And still, they misunderstood your quiet. They thought it meant you agreed, that you were weak, that you didn't care enough to speak. They mistook your calm for permission. They assumed your stillness was surrender. But deep down, you know the truth. Your silence is not submission. It's your boundary, your strategy, your decision to protect your peace in a moment that doesn't deserve your fire. Because not every war is worth fighting, not every insult deserves a reaction, and not every person has earned the right to hear your truth. Sometimes silence is what strength looks like after being tested too many times. It's restraint, it's clarity. It's the moment you realize that arguing with someone who only hears themselves is a form of self-betrayal. That shouting your worth to someone who refuses to see it is a waste of breath. There's a different kind of power in the quiet, a kind that doesn't need to prove itself, a kind that watches, waits, understands, and chooses when to speak, when to walk, and when to let go. You are not weak for being quiet. You are strong for not reacting. You are powerful for not being pulled into chaos every time it knocks. Because silence, when chosen, not forced, is a declaration. It says, I see what's happening, I know who I am, and I will not lower myself just to be heard. You've fought battles with words before. Now you're learning to win with presence, with self-control, with grace that doesn't flinch. Let them think you've given up. Let them misread your silence. Because what they'll never understand is that your quiet isn't absence. It's precision, it's awareness. And it's the sound of someone who finally knows the difference between reacting and rising. You've been told to be careful, to keep your guard up, to never show too much of yourself, not your fears, not your wounds, not your doubts. Because if people see your cracks, they'll use them. If they sense your softness, they'll take advantage. So you learned to mask it. You kept your voice even when it wanted to break. You smiled through the ache. You stayed composed even when you were falling apart inside. But that's not strength, that's survival. And survival has a cost. Because while you're busy hiding the parts of you that hurt, you're also hiding the parts of you that could heal. You see, real power doesn't come from being untouchable. It comes from being honest. Vulnerability isn't about weakness. It's about truth. It's standing in the open with nothing to hide and daring the world to meet you there. The more you deny your pain, the more it controls you. But the moment you name it not as an apology, but as ownership, everything begins to shift. That shame you've been carrying, it dissolves in the light. That fear of not being enough, it softens when you speak it aloud. And suddenly, you're not trying to protect an image anymore. You're standing in your reality, and there's nothing more powerful than that. Because when you embrace your story, the real one, the messy one, the one you swore no one could ever see, you become untouchable in the only way that matters. No one can use against you what you've already accepted. No one can manipulate you through secrets you've already made peace with. Vulnerability doesn't make you easier to hurt. It makes you impossible to shame. It says, this is who I am. This is what I've been through, and I'm not hiding anymore. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to appear flawless. You need to be whole, and wholeness requires truth. So stop running from what makes you human. Let yourself be seen. Not the perfect version, the real one, because once you stop hiding, you stop fearing, And when there's nothing left to fear, you finally get to live free. At some point, you got tired of explaining yourself, tired of being the one who always bends, always compromises, always makes room. You thought love meant saying yes, even when everything in you screamed no. You thought being kind meant being available. But little by little, that kindness became a cage. People took advantage of your silence. They tested your patience. They mistook your open heart for an open door, one they could walk through, leave, and return to whenever they pleased. And every time you tried to say something, to draw the line, guilt showed up like an old friend. Don't be cold. Don't be difficult. Don't be selfish. So you let it slide until your peace was gone. What you didn't realize then is this: boundaries aren't rejection. They're protection. They don't push people away. They reveal who was never meant to stay. A boundary is not a wall to keep love out. It's a filter that keeps chaos from taking root inside you. It's the moment you stop over-explaining and start choosing. It's when your yes means something again, because your no finally has a place. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to you. Not your time, not your energy, not your forgiveness. You are allowed to say not this time. You are allowed to say that doesn't work for me anymore. And the people who truly see you won't be threatened by that. They'll respect it. Boundaries aren't cold. What's cold is pretending to be fine while you're silently drowning in resentment. What's cold is giving and giving while you silently hope someone notices you're breaking. The moment you choose boundaries, you begin to reclaim your life. You stop attracting people who only come for what you offer. You stop tolerating situations that ask you to shrink. You stop explaining your worth and start living it. Some will leave, let them, because the ones who stay after the boundary is drawn. Those are the ones who were never just taking. They were always choosing you. You're not too much. You've just been too open. Close the door that drains you. Watch what changes when only the worthy can enter